Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the new screensavers is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. The new screensavers is brought to you by The Journal, a new monthly email newsletter from Kevin Rose. To gain insider's access to Kevin's best of the web, sign up today for free at www.thejournal.email. And by Braintree. Mobile app development can be complex, but integrating your payments no longer has to be. With Braintree, your business can accept nearly every type of payment from any device with just one integration. Learn more at braintreepayments.com/NSS. And by PillPack, a full-service online pharmacy that combines modern technology, convenient packaging, and personalized service to make your life easier. Visit pillpack.com/twit to save $20 on vitamins and over-the-counter medications when you transfer your prescription.
Raspberry Pi versus Odroid, the MakerBot 3D printer, and how to set up a Makerspace. Live from the Twit Brick House in beautiful downtown Petaluma, it's the new Screensavers.
Laporte here.
With Aaron Newcomb.
Aaron Newcomb.
You're
there.
here. I'm not. Where am I? Oh, yes, here I am.
Yes. This is episode 48 for April 9th, 2016. Aaron, of course, a regular on Floss Weekly, our open source program. He's a maker. We have him on Twig a lot. We have him on all the shows. We love having
all the
you
shows,
on.
yeah.
And you've been on this show more than once, so welcome back.
Time. Thanks for having me.
By the way, I got an email from somebody who said, I love your show open. I just found the new Screensavers, and that's my house on Leavenworth you're riding by on the Segways. The red house.
That's
so
funny.
next time we'll go, hey, hey. So we're going to have fun. This is going to be a great show today because Aaron's a maker, owns his own or runs his own Makerspace in Benicia?
Yeah, Benicia Makerspace.
And also is like a crazy maker with lots of projects. We're going to do some making. And one of the reasons we're doing this week, last week we kind of were unexpectedly delivered with an Oculus Rift, so we wanted to show you. We made it VR Day, but really last Saturday was Arduino Day, right?
Oh yes, it was. Yeah.
So this is kind of a delayed Arduino celebration.
Yeah.
And that's one of the tools makers often use.
Yeah, Arduino's great. Arduino, I mean, is one of the most used tools because it's easy to learn, easy to use. It's probably like the first thing people start to learn these days when they try to do anything, make an LED blink or make a servo run, or they want to build a robot. Arduino's easy to use, so they go there first.
All right. Well, we're going to show you some Raspberry Pis, some projects you've done, and more.
Yep.
Before we do that, though, and also we're going to wrap up the Ultimate Virtual Reality Gaming Machine. As I said, we jumped ahead a little bit because the Rift came. You just played with it for the first
I just
time.
played with it. I'm still a little woozy, but it wasn't that bad. I have to say, it wasn't that bad.
No, it's much better than it used
I didn't
to
want
be.
to take it off, that's for sure.
That's
really
the real
cool.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It is so much fun.
It's very immersive.
And we were just playing Lucky's Tale, which is a silly little, almost a kid's game with a fox and you're jumping around. It's kind of a platformer.
Yeah.
And it's really engaging.
Yeah, I wanted to do a high dive, and I could actually do it. I could see where the water was. I could pick my landing and jump right in there.
Sticked it. Well, here's the fun part. We have a little bit more to do because we assembled it quickly. We've actually the most expensive piece of the Ultimate Virtual Reality Game Machine. We're going to add that, plus our keyboard and mouse. And we're still preparing because the HTC Vive is next, and this should be coming in the next few weeks. We'll have a chance to compare it. The biggest difference is going to be the Vive has hand controls, which the Oculus doesn't have till later this year. And I'm very intrigued. There's some really interesting apps. And, of course, it's Steam.
Right.
So, in fact, that's the next thing to do, Jerry, is we should install Steam and start buying. There's Steam now has a whole VR section of stuff, including there's an IKEA kitchen showroom game.
Oh, that's cool. Did you see the online thing where they were getting people to try to combat their fear of heights? And they were using a VR.
Yeah.
They would put them on a plank.
Yeah, there's a cat at the end.
And there's
of
a
the
cat
planet,
at the end. Yeah, and they
you
have to go pet
crawl
it.
out, and they were terrified.
They were terrified. Yep. Yep. But they
It
were
is-
just on a plank on the floor.
They
But
knew
thought they were up in the air.
intellectually that they were in a room and they couldn't possibly hurt themselves or
Yeah.
fall. But it's still, that's the thing. This is pretty realistic, isn't it?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you quickly get over the fact that you're wearing a toaster on your face, and you can see this is the game. This is amazing. You could, but by the way, the thing that makes this is that's a Vive, and you'll see he's holding the hand
The
pieces,
handheld things, yeah.
and that makes a difference. And also, by the way, they're wearing good headphones, those AKG headphones. But I think you probably noticed the Oculus Rift has very good headphones. Audio
very
is
good.
important.
Yeah,
It's a
surprisingly good.
big part of this.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all coming up. We also are going to talk to an Aussie who wants to do what you've done. He wants to set up a makerspace
exciting.
in
I
Melbourne.
can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But first, the news of the week. Facebook's F8 Developers Conference is Tuesday. We're going to cover that live, 10 a.m. Pacific. That's 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 1700 UTC on Tuesday. Maybe we'll do one on Wednesday too, because there's 2 keynotes. Depends on how much they get mentioned. Everybody's very interested in what they're going to say, and I suspect what they're going to talk about is their new messenger platform and bots.
Yeah.
Which I really think bots are the apps. If messenger is, if messaging is the chat, is like the operating system, like iOS or Android, then the apps on it are the bots.
Right.
And apparently they're going to offer bots to businesses for tech support, all sorts of stuff. It's going to be very interesting. So we'll cover that live. And Jason Howell and Gina Trapani will join me. So that should be a lot of fun. Are you up on what happened with the Revolve? I don't think you are.
I know the Revolve, but I don't know exactly what's going on.
So here's what happened. Revolve made a little round smart home hub that would connect with a variety of devices. They sold it for $300. They got bought by Nest a couple of years ago. Now, when they sold the hub, they said guaranteed updates for life. And a lot of people went out and bought, lights that would work with it, locks, everything, automated their home. Well, they announced last week that they're going to permanently disable it. Starting May 15th, if you have a Revolve hub, it won't work anymore.
That's too bad.
Because they're turning the servers off. It's not a slow degrade or anything. It's just not going to work. You're going to have a expensive hummus container. So this is actually, an EFF wrote a kind of sarcastic, ironic article saying, and this is the problem with the Internet of Things. There is a lesson to be learned here, which is if you're relying on a company, then that thing may not work when that company decides to change its business, put something out of business.
That's right.
Is there an open way to do this? I mean, that would solve this. If this server were open, somebody would take it over and start running it, and it would work.
Right. Well, the Wild West, so to speak, right now is in the protocols. So there's different companies developing open protocols. If they actually do end up being open, that's great. But you can go online and check out a project called OpenHab, which interfaces with a lot of different things. The nice thing about that is if something new comes out and you want to try it, you can use it. Or if something goes out of
and can
support,
you build your own
bring in something else
hub, your own hardware, and all of that?
You can do your own hardware. You can use Arduino, which we just talked about, or Raspberry Pi. There's all kinds of things you can use with OpenHab, and they really are trying to support as much as possible for this very reason, right? Because we've all seen like Zigbee and X11 was out there, and Z-Wave,
and now Google has its own Thread and Weave. And Google says, well, this is going to be open as well. But I think you kind of nailed it. If it's an open source solution that a lot of people could run the servers, that a lot of different hardware, you do need apps. And I note that they have smartphone apps, because that's what you want. You want to be able to control all of those devices with a single app instead of a different app for everything.
Yeah.
This looks like a really good solution, especially if you can run your own server. It's Linux, OS 10, Windows, Java, Raspberry Pi, BeagleBone Black. I guess that's another hardware platform, and a lot more. This sounds like a really good solution. Openhab.org.
Yeah, and I think we talked to the OpenHab folks on an episode of Floss Weekly not too long ago. So if you go back, I say not too long ago, time flies. It may have been 6 months ago, but if you go back and look for that, you'll get the nuts and bolts of it.
Are you doing home automation? I mean, if anybody, but you're not, are you?
Well, we do at the Makerspace.
Right.
So we actually do. We have a door entry system that we built using Raspberry Pi and Arduino from scratch.
Neat.
So when members come up, or let's say we have a new member, we just assign them an RFID key. Looks like this, actually. Let's see if I can pull one out. And they walk up to the door. Here's mine.
We should be using this. We're going to buy some sort of
Yeah, you
keyless
guys have
entry
these
system.
scanners, right?
Yeah, but
Don't
they're
you?
commercial. Oh, that would be cool.
So that's it. So it's got a little sticker on it, and there's a little sticker on our front door.
Is
and
that
you go
NFC?
Up. No, it's not. It's RFID. It's true RFID. They're very close though, NFC and RFID. But you just go up, you press this against the scanner, and it opens the door for a couple of seconds so you can get in, and then locks it back up. And you could use this at home too. Let's say you had someone who was watching your animals or something, your plants. You could give them this, and then you can enable it and disable it remotely. So when you're coming back from vacation, you take away.
Because all this with RFID, all this does is it has a number built into the RFID tag,
That's right.
and the work is done by the reader, which
That's right.
just scans this.
The reader
hardware.
actually
It's
powers
passive.
the antenna. The power from the
Right.
antenna actually powers this,
Yeah.
and then it reads it. So it doesn't do anything until you get close to the antenna.
That number has certain permissions.
That's right.
And you could say they can get in, but
Right.
as soon as you don't want them to get in,
Yeah.
you don't have to take back the fob. You just
No.
decommission the RFID.
And that's what we do at the Makerspace. If someone loses
great
their key
idea.
fob, we say, no
That's a great
problem.
idea.
Just come on in and we'll program a new one for you.
You know what? That's thin and light.
Thin,
It's
light,
actually
and
thinner and
cheap,
lighter
too.
than the one we're using.
These you can buy like 100 of these for maybe $10 on eBay.
Maybe we should do that in the new studio.
Yeah.
You got me interested. That's cool. What other top hot stories? Well, little irony here. Ad blockers. Let's talk about ad blockers. The usage of ad blockers is skyrocketing. 5 reasons I've figured out. 5 reasons I think why people use ad blockers. 1, they just don't want to see ads. They're ugly. 2, they want to save bandwidth because those ads take up a lot of bandwidth. 3, they want to protect their privacy. 4, they want the web to work faster. That's kind of tied to bandwidth, but all of this ad tech just slows everything down. And frankly, it's also a usability issue, especially on mobile. Sometimes all those ads make it impossible to read the website. But the 5th reason, and I don't think it's to be diminished, is to protect yourself from malware.
Right.
Because it turns out in these advertising networks, especially the ones that use Flash, they're automated. Somebody can buy an ad, inject it with malware. Nobody's paying attention. That ad's going to show up on the site. It's happened time and time again with big sites. Yahoo! It's happened with big sites. So this is a sad story, but Forbes, which used to be a great journal, and when you go there now, it says, "Oh, please, we make money on ads. Don't turn off your ad. Turn off your ad blocker. Don't use an ad blocker." As soon as you do, guess what? You get hit by malware, because on the article, the 30 under 30 list, there was an ad, automated ad, injected with malware. So there's a certain irony to it. Oh, don't use, we need to make money, don't use. Well, good. If you know what? Then knock it off!
Yep.
People, if you want people not to use ad blockers, then it really behooves you not to inject their system with malware. Just seems to me.
Yeah.
There's a big fight going on over a new browser from Brendan Eich. He was one of the founders of Mozilla, and he's written a new browser called Brave. And now he's being threatened with lawsuit by 17 newspaper publishers, because Brave is an interesting browser. It comes with an ad blocker built in, but instead of just taking the ads out, it replaces the ads with advertisers who honor the do not track tag. Most advertisers don't. So it takes those ads out. First party ads, not a problem. By the way, not a problem with any ad blocker. If you go to twit.tv and the ad is coming from twit.tv, no blocker is going to block it. Brave will block only third party ads, and then replace them with ads that are by ethical advertisers, let's say. Now, the newspaper people are furious about this, but I thought, and by the way, they share the revenue. They keep some of the money, but they share the revenue. And in fact, Brendan says, not only do we share the revenue, we give you a bigger chunk of the revenue than your own advertisers give you. So you should be happy about this. But the newspapers say, we're not happy about this. You shouldn't be modifying our site. I kind of understand their point of view, but Brendan's point of view is, no browser has ever just kind of said, here, do whatever you want to do. Every browser is software that you own, that you run on your system, that is rendering the page as you choose to render it.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
Whether you're using a text-only browser like Lynx, or you're using Chrome, it's making decisions based on your choices about how to render that page. That's your right. It's your software on your computer.
Yeah. And for part of the reason we just talked about was malware, right? Lots of browsers do updates all the time to protect against malware. You have to have that capability to change it. It's your browser. You should be able to do what you want with it.
Well, let's hope that these companies don't sue, and if they do sue, that they don't win, because that would send a chilling effect to all browsers everywhere, especially the do not track stuff. And speaking of chilling effects, one more story. We've been waiting for it. Tomorrow, Steve said, I set up a tickler Google search looking for the words Burr-Feinstein. The Burr-Feinstein draft is now out, is heading to committee. It is, the official name of this bill, it went out on Thursday evening, is Compliance with Court Orders Act of 2016. It's our senator, I'm sad to say, Dianne Feinstein, and Richard Burr, who's no relation to Raymond Burr. He's a Republican congressman, senator. The legislation would make illegal encryption, wall-to-wall encryption. It would require, it's actually a very simple law that would, here, I'll read it to you. To uphold the rule of law and protect the security and interests of the United States, all persons receiving an authorized judicial order for information or data must provide in a timely manner responsive and intelligible information or data or appropriate technical assistance to obtain such information or data. In other words, if there's an encrypted blob and law enforcement gets it, they need to be able to go to the company that created the encrypted blob and say, decrypt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mention a backdoor, but isn't that ultimately a backdoor? It means maybe that Apple or Google or TrueCrypt has the key, but that's a backdoor.
It's a backdoor.
And
the question is whether you trust someone using that backdoor, right?
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to say, oh, if somebody commits a crime, we want to be able to go after this person and find out about but it's another thing to say, we've got a key to everything, and we may use it at some point, or if you don't trust that party, this being the U.S. government, they could go use that at some point.
Even worse, it requires that licensed distributors ensure that all products, services, applications, or software they distribute also adheres to that law. Mm-hmm. That means the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, the Windows Store, all would have to check every app and make sure that app has a backdoor or the encryption's so bad that they can easily crack it. The people who are weighing in on this, including people like cryptographer Matthew Green, say this is the most naive, the stupidest. It's here's the term, the phrase I like: ludicrous, dangerous, and technically illiterate. And you should absolutely write to your member of Congress because this is not something we want passed. It is currently in draft. It is not proposed yet, but something we want to pay attention to.
Absolutely. It's ironic. I was just up on Thursday. I was up in Roanoke Park talking to some congressmen and women about innovation in America and how to promote innovation and do more things. And I mean, this is one way to stifle that for sure. We were talking about patent law and all kinds of things, but this is one way. If I'm an app builder and I have to write this code into my app, or try to rely on Google to do that or something, I mean, that's tough. I don't know how to do that. I can write a simple app. I can't put encryption in it. You know, so I think that's if you want to stifle innovation, it's a good way to go.
My suspicion is that, well, you know, I don't know what you would do if you're Apple and Google. You're not going to move offshore, but that would be the temptation, right? Is to set up business in the Canary Islands.
Yeah.
And because you don't want to have to comply with this law. And it's a real problem because anybody who wants privacy is not going to use your products.
That's right.
That's it on that.
Yep.
Where are they going to go, though? Where do we go? I don't know. It's a terrible idea. Terrible idea. All right, that's the hot topics of the week. There are quite a few, but we thought we'd talk about them. Let's get a call for help. You ready?
All right.
This is all for you.
I can't wait. I've been waiting for this.
We're going to go down under. Andrew on the line from Melbourne, Australia. Am I saying it right? Melbourne?
You're saying Melbourne right, but I'm actually in Charters Towers.
Ah, where?
Close. Charters Towers.
Charters Towers.
Charters Towers, as we would say.
and by the way, I love your kitchen, man. If I could have one of them coffee makers in my kitchen, I would too.
Mate, it's all yours.
Ah, that is. Are you working a restaurant?
Yeah, I bought a cafe a year ago, so this is my little baby.
Lovely.
Nice.
How fun is that? What's the name of it?
Pepper's Cafe and Catering.
Pepper's Cafe and Catering in Charterstown. Next time I am down your way, I'm stopping by for a cup of joe.
Great.
Now, what can we do for you?
I had this crazy idea that I'd like to do a pop-up makerspace in the cafe, and I've got no idea how to get it going. I've got a bit of a geeky background, so I've got a bit of knowledge, but just need a bit of direction and guidance.
I love you, Andrew. That is such a great idea. And this guy has his own makerspace in Benicia.
Yeah.
Did you start it?
I did. Yeah, I'm one of the founders. I'm also the president. So
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're a small town. You know, Benicia only has 25,000 people, and we're able to support, a full-time makerspace. We just opened last July, and we've got over 40 members now, so we're growing, and we've got tons of tools, 3D printers, CNC machines, lots of software and things like that. So it's definitely possible. Definitely possible.
So where does he start?
So the first thing is find a group of people that you can tap into. So when we first started, it was just 2 of us. We didn't know what to do, but we very quickly started spreading the word, and people jumped on board and said, yeah, that sounds great. I really want to get involved. So get a good community, get some people that you know. It'd be great if you could get an accountant, but it sounds like you probably already have that if you have your own cafe. I don't know.
Doing the books is not easy.
Doing the books is not easy. Starting in the U.S. here, we have to start a corporation, and then we have to become a nonprofit. So we're a 501c3, but we had no idea how to do that at the beginning. It's like, well, we know we want to be a 501c3. How do you do it? So we found an accountant. He said, oh, I can help you with that.
You do that to protect yourself from liability?
It's a little bit of both. It's liability, but it's also, none of us get paid, right? We have an all-volunteer board. We want it to be a community effort. But also, here's the other thing that I would point out is to get donations. A lot of people are more willing to give you donations if they can get a tax benefit. So one of the things you can do is, if you're a 501c3, is you can take someone that has an old table saw or an old piece of equipment, and they don't need it anymore. They want to sell it, but it might be more advantageous to them to get a tax benefit. So they can donate that and then claim it's worth whatever, $250, let's say. They get to write that off. Perfect. So that's a really good way to go, at least here in the States. But community is number one. First, find community. Second, talk to community leaders. So we went out to our mayor, who was very supportive in Benicia, and she helped us get started. She actually turned us on to a grant opportunity that was available through the town, and that's where we got our startup funding to make the Makerspace happen. So it's very important to talk to leaders, not only in local government, but also in the local school system. At least here in the U.S., our schools are being tasked to go out and develop science and technology programs this next year. And so a lot of them are saying one of the ways they can accomplish the goals that the government has set for them is to open a makerspace even in their own school. But what you might find is that school leaders are willing to work with you and perhaps provide funding as well to start an after-school program in the cafe. Maybe there's kids that could come in and they could do 3D printing. I know in our space we do something called Printcraft, where kids can come in and use Minecraft, and what they design in Minecraft you can then take and print out on a 3D printer. So they get to take home whatever it is that they've created.
And that's a great way to get, if you just did that, people be coming to the coffee shop just to do that.
Just to do that.
And that's a good way to bootstrap it, right?
Absolutely.
Start with a small project that people really love and grow from there.
And that was my last point. It's such a great point. Start with what you can do and then go from there. So what we did, we didn't have a space, we didn't have any funding. All we had was a group of people saying, we want our community to have this opportunity. So what we did was we actually said, well, what can we do? Well, we could probably use the community center and just start doing workshops on topics that are interesting to us. So that's what we did. We did one on 3D printing. We did one on gardening. We did a gardening workshop.
That's cool.
We did all kinds of stuff. And that got, again, more interest. The town got involved. They saw what we were doing and they said, yeah, we want to do this. And I'll tell you why it's interesting for local towns is because that means more business for the town and more startup businesses that may choose to locate in the town. So if you position it in that way, the local townsfolk should be really interested. If you talk about education, the local educators and schools should be really interested. And that should get you up and going.
What do people in Queensland do in that maker area? Is there something, Andrew, that would get people excited in your neck of the woods?
Oh, there's a few people doing bits and pieces. There's a local mechanic that's got a van kitted out so you can actually fly remote control choppers from inside of it, like inside of a cockpit.
Love that.
So there's a few people that are pretty interested in doing things. So
drones are hot.
Yeah, drones. We had Padre come over to our makerspace, and he brought 6 or 8 drones that people could. I mean, it was fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, drone workshop.
Oh man,
that'd be a good way to start.
Yeah.
I used to hang out at coffee shops that had chess clubs.
Yeah.
It's the same idea, right? And once you get a group of people who are interested and they come every Tuesday night and they play chess, by the way, good for business.
Absolutely.
It's good for community. I think this is a great idea, Andrew. I strongly encourage you to get started.
I've heard of board game cafes. I've never heard of a maker cafe.
Same thing, right?
Yeah, this is exciting.
Now, how do you finance this? Because this could be, I mean, how much is the gear worth in your makerspace? It must be a lot.
It is, and we've done very well. You can look at that Craigslist. You can look at things like Nextdoor. Reach out to your local neighbors. I mean, we had a lady that was remodeling her kitchen. We said, hey, we need some new cabinets. cabinets, right? I mean, those are expensive if you have to go out and buy them new. But this is a makerspace. You're like, hey, give us your upper cabinets. We'll put them on the wall. That gives us more storage. So that's exactly what we did. And we've done that twice now. We've had people donate, like I said, woodworking equipment. Look for companies that are going out of business. You can get great tools and equipment from companies that are willing to sell to a surplus vendor. And if you approach them and say, hey, here's a tax write-off instead, a lot of times they'll jump on it.
Another reason to get the nonprofit status.
Absolutely. And even if they don't jump on it, you can say, hey, if we give you or we match what this guy's going to buy the stuff for, will you give it to us? And since it's for a good cause, they'll say absolutely.
I would bet that the town council in Charterstown is interested in this kind of thing. This is good for community,
think so too.
Right?
It's absolutely good for community.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to talk to you. Andrew, you're going to do it?
Mate, absolutely. I'm about to flick the switch on the Python programming Minecraft server for the cafe. So
nice.
Oh my God, that's awesome! You rock. You're going to get people in there. That's great.
Yeah, and check out PrinterBot too. PrintRBot.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because then, so they do the Minecraft thing, right? They build their pyramid or their rainbow or whatever, and you could say, and if you want to print it out, we got the software
so you can
to
use
do that.
PrinterBot, and you can use the software. It's called Printcraft. So if you go online and just do a search for Printcraft, you can download it. They make a special bundle available for teachers, and you can use that in the Makerspace, and just run it like a regular Minecraft server. And it's all automated. Kids come up, they build their thing, they go over to a button and hit print, and they're off and running.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Andrew, thank you for calling. What a great question. Perfect timing, too, because we got the guy here.
I definitely thank you very much. Absolutely inspirational, and looking forward to showing you what we've done down the track.
Beatmaster in our chat room.
And if you need help, give us a shout out. I love to help Makerspaces get started.
How can he get a hold of you?
Google Plus is probably the best way because everything there is public. So go to my profile on Google Plus, and you can shoot me a message, and I'll reply.
Nice.
Yep.
Beatmaster in our chat room says, Minecraft and Java, a match made in 8-bit heaven. I love it. Hey, thanks, Andrew.
Fantastic. Thanks very much.
That's great. Take care. Father Robert's our host next week. Is that right? Am I right, Tanya and Jerry? Yeah. So if you've got a question about drones or any, Father Roberts, he covers everything.
He's a man.
Here's how you can ask your question next week.
Need tech help? The new Screensavers are here with answers. Email your tech questions to newscreensavers@twit.tv.
You know Kevin Rose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't know Kevin Rose? Kevin is one of my, I would say one of my best friends. Even though he's moved to New York, I don't feel like I'm in touch with him as much as I ought to be. But every time I see him, it's like old home week. You remember Kevin from the old Screensavers? He was the dark tipper. He never liked that name, but he used to come up with great projects, great dark tips. He's gone on to do some wonderful things since. He founded Dig, was a host of Dig Nation for a long time. He's now the CEO of Hodinkee, which is a watch company, was at Google Ventures for a while. You know what Kevin's doing? And I'm really thrilled. He's doing a newsletter. It's called The Journal, and it's free. And Kevin asked us to tell you about it because he wants you to sign up right now. You won't get it more than once a month. It is his best of the web. Kevin's take on the latest gadgets, body hacks. You know, his new thing is cold. He's doing the cold thing.
Really?
Yeah. He's super smart, but also he's got this vision, this forward-looking vision. Of course, he's got podcasts and videos, style tips. I admit, I've taken a few from Kevin. Not this. He has no responsibility from this. But I do remember the day on the Screensavers when we all went in and gelled our hair into spikes. I said, how do you do that with your hair? And he showed me. Didn't last. Now, this is good. Most newsletters are daily or weekly. Kevin's sending, he promises, one newsletter a month. That's it. And you're going to want more. If he recommends a product or service, you can guarantee it is his personal choice. He loves it because he tests and owns many of the products he's reviewing in the journal. He's calling it a newsletter for the curious, and I love this. There's nobody better. And don't forget to check out his podcast version of the journal. He interviews people who are top experts in the field. This is a new enterprise for Kevin. And I was really glad when he came to us and said, could you tell people about it? I am really glad to help out. www.thejournal.email. Thejournal.email. Already, I think 38,000 members. Of course, I've signed up. You should sign up too. It's free, it's easy, and you will be very glad you get this once a month. That's thejournal.email. And we thank Kevin Rose for, believe it or not, now 42,000 subscribers. Believe it or not, he bought these ads.
That's great.
I told Kevin, you don't have to buy an ad. You never have to buy an ad. He said, no, I want to buy an ad. I said, all right, I'll take your money. thejournal.email. Make it worth his while, will you? Go out and sign up today. And by the way, we have learned, I think that there are more viewers of this show every week than watch the original Screensavers on Tech TV. On our best day, I think Tech TV had something like 170,000 views of any given show. We have far exceeded that.
Wow.
So thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart for watching the show. We work really hard. Jerry and Karsten and Tanya, great team. Kara, who's our camera operator, our whole staff, Brian Burnett, our technical director. Everybody works so hard to put this show together. John, our studio manager, Alex, the mix master. And I'm just thrilled. Is that Flowmaster? I'm sorry. The mix master actually really is Anthony Nielsen. He's our bartender. Alex is the Flowmaster. Anyway, they all work so hard to make this show, and I'm so glad that you have taken to it. Hey, we got to walk because I want to show everybody what you've been up to with the Maker project. Since we had Aaron Newcomb here, we thought we'd do some making. And Aaron is really kind of wild on this, including, by the way, the new MakerBot. We're going to get to that in just a second. But let's start off. First of all, Arduino Day was April 2nd.
Yes.
And I feel terrible that we didn't cover that. We've covered the Raspberry Pi. I know there have been Arduino projects with the Father Robert and Brian on Know-How. What is the difference between a Raspberry Pi and an Arduino? They look kind of superficially similar.
So this is a Raspberry Pi. This is actually an Odroid. Odroid C2, which is a clone.
These are really, the thing to me is the Raspberry Pi and the Odroid and its ilk are computers.
They are.
They're full computers with operating systems and everything.
And that's the difference between Raspberry Pi and Arduino, is that Raspberry Pi is a full computer. It has all of the things that you would normally use on a computer. It has a
Four
CPU,
USB ports,
memory,
Ethernet.
Yep, I/O, Ethernet, networking, audio, video.
HDMI.
So everything that you would use on a normal computer is there. It's just very tiny. It's the size of a credit card.
It has a GPIO port, a general purpose I/O pins. So you could put a cable on this, and each pin can do something else, and you can write software to control it. And so that's a big. This is a display adapter too, right?
Yep. So there's a place for a camera and a place for a display.
Camera, right,
there's one of each. You're right.
Yep.
So if you want to just hook a camera on there, you can get the one with the ribbon and just stick it
Isn't
in
that
slot.
cool?
And it'll use it also, but you can use a USB camera as well, or anything really.
And $35.
$35.
What operating system runs on a Raspberry
So typically you're going to use Raspbian.
Which is a Debian Linux designed for Raspberry
Designed
Pi.
specifically for the Raspberry Pi. So
which, by the way, comes with Minecraft. Microsoft has licensed Minecraft. And our last caller, Andrew, was talking about programming on Minecraft. It has a Python.
It has that built in.
And the API and everything. It's built into Raspbian.
That's right.
So this is all you need. I've been telling parents, kid asks for a computer in his bedroom, say, no problem, Junior. Here's a keyboard, mouse, and monitor, and a $35 computer. And boot up Raspbian and have fun in programming your Minecraft.
And not only that, the great thing about it is because it's so popular, there's been all kinds of blogs and tutorials.
So much in there.
You give it to your kid and they're going to go to the web and find something to do almost immediately. It's not like when I started in computers, you had to go to a computer club to figure out how to upgrade the memory on your TRS-80, right? But here you can just go online and go crazy. And I know they have Raspberry Jams. They're more popular in the UK where people get together and do stuff. There's also educator programs, so you can use the Raspberry Pi in classroom. So, I mean, this is really exploding. It's providing access to something that can really change a kid's life and kind of open them up to the world of making things.
Now, this is a clone, basically.
This is a Raspberry Pi clone.
It's called the Odroid.
Odroid. It's from Hard Kernel. They make a number of different boards like this, but this is the C2. It's fairly new. It came out just before the Raspberry Pi 3 came out.
Also $35.
Also $35.
Very similar. In fact, it looks like you could even use the same case almost. Right?
Yeah, except this one includes a lot more capability. So you can see right away it's got a infrared receiver on it. So if you wanted to use it as a connecting to your set-top box. You could use a remote control for lots of different things. It also, on the back, you can see it has eMMC memory. as well as SD card, and that's really important. And I'll tell you why, because this thing can run Android like nobody's business.
Oh, that's the biggest
difference.
thing. That's the name even tells you that.
Yeah,
Odroid,
that's a big difference between this and the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi uses a Broadcom chip, and it's kind of specialized actually. It's not used a lot of places. It's an ARM chip, but it's not. Not all ARM chips are the same. And one of the ways they're not the same is this uses a hard kernel ARM chip that it has Android drivers already written for it.
So, would you just download the open source project version of Android? And
You
put
wouldn't.
that on
They
there?
actually have
They have their own
they have their
distribution.
own distribution that they put out, and they're constantly updating it.
Is this good for writing and testing Android apps?
It could be, especially if
more-
you wanted to do a desktop style app, I think.
Okay.
Because you can hook this up to a big monitor and a keyboard and mouse. You can test out like a tablet view of an app very easily. It wouldn't be good to test out a phone app because you don't have GSM. And you don't have
There's
the
no
wireless.
phone.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So,
Patrick Norton did a look. He just got the Odroid on last week's This Week in Computer Hardware. Patrick was talking about his Odroid, and I'm sure he'll be doing some projects
Absolutely.
with it. So watch This Week in Computer Hardware.
what I'm doing with it is I'm turning an old laptop into a Pi top, but it's not going to be a Linux Pi top. It's actually going to run Android. So we've talked about this on This Week in Google. You know, whether Chrome OS or Android should be the OS of choice, right? For a tablet or a desktop. I like Android on a desktop or on a laptop. And so what I'm going to do is it's a nice big screen that I've got on this laptop. I'm going to turn it into a Pi top and run Android on it.
We talked about on Windows Weekly, there's a company, I can't remember the name, that makes a $129 it looks like a netbook.
Yes, I've seen that.
And you can glue the Raspberry Pi to the back of it, and it's got a 14-inch screen, it's got a keyboard, it's got a trackpad, and you run it as a laptop.
As a laptop.
Yeah.
Yep. And now with the Raspberry Pi 3, that'll be much more quicker. The desktop is much more responsive.
This is much more.
Yeah. It's finally at the
juice
place
in
where
this.
I can recommend people who want to use it as a desktop machine.
Right.
Before the 3, I was like, you can run it as a desktop. You're not going to like it, but you can run it. Now you can actually run it
fast enough.
Really fast.
And it comes with the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi built in,
Bluetooth and
so you
Wi-Fi
don't have
built
to
in.
use up one of those 4
Yep.
USB.
I've actually got a Wi-Fi dongle in there. I'm just
see that.
storing it there. I needed a place to put it.
You don't need it.
I don't need it.
You don't want to
I
lose
just
it
didn't
because
wanna
it's so
lose it.
little.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I don't
That's
blame
right.
you. Yeah. All right, so that's kind of fun. This is something that you brought by to This Week in Google, and
That's
I
right.
love this. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so this is a 20-sided die. Unlike other 20-sided dies, this one actually tells you what number you've landed on.
It's got a little speaker.
It's got a little speaker.
An accelerometer. Let me roll it and see if you can hear it.
see if it's working.
The Makerbot's kind of loud, so.
Maybe not.
Did it power
It
down?
might have powered down. Let's see. We left it running.
We left it running. That was our
That was
mistake.
the
We probably
mistake.
killed the battery. Huh?
Yeah.
Can I
probably-
open it?
Yeah, open it. See if you could open it. Actually, it uses some very powerful magnets to keep it together. Obviously, when you roll this thing,
You don't want it to
you don't want it to
fall
fall
apart.
open. Here, let me see if I can get it.
You
open.
better open it. I don't
Yeah.
want to break it.
Let me see if I can get it open. We'll talk about what's on the inside. But
Yeah.
one of the cool things about this is the shell was printed on a 3D printer.
Oh, that's neat.
So
And
this
it's got
is
a
all-
great voice. Where did you get the sounds?
You know what? These are from Adafruit. So this project started. I want to give credit where
Oh, they
credit's
had
due.
the sound. Okay.
They have the sound files. Let's see
Boy,
if I
they
can
are
get this
powerful
open.
magnets.
Yeah, they really are. There we go.
There we go.
Let's open it up here and see what's going on. Oh yeah, there it goes. Okay,
It just
looks
went
like
to
the
sleep.
battery's dead.
It's
actually.
a small battery. so-
Very small battery. Let's see
Yeah.
if we can get a good shot of this.
Look
So
at
on
that.
the inside here, we've got a couple of things. I don't want it to close back up again. So this is actually a small board. You can buy these on eBay for about $2 a piece, sometimes less. It's a small little board that plays MP3 files, and it'll
That's
do
funny.
it. It'll do it either based on a ground short, just by connecting 2 pins, or it'll also do it via a serial command, which is the way I'm using it. Underneath that, we have a very small Arduino. We were just talking about this,
Oh,
right?
that's the Arduino.
This
All
is
right.
an Arduino Nano. It's actually a knockoff from China, but this is what's controlling all the logic. So I've got a little program on here that goes out and looks. I don't know if you can see underneath here or not, but in the very bottom there, there's an
daughter board.
accelerometer, and that's what's actually tied down. That actually has to be
Right.
tied down so you get a good reading every time.
Right.
So it goes out to the accelerometer and it says, okay, what position am I now? And then it consults a chart that I built of all the different values, and it says, okay, I know that these XYZ coordinates equals 19. And then it goes out and plays the sound file that matches that.
Now, you
that's how it
can't
works.
use this in real D&D play.
You can't use this in real D&D. As you can see, I've got a speaker and a battery over here. It's fairly well balanced, but it's not,
No.
not D&D legal.
Not totally random. Yeah.
Right.
It's
right.
more for fun. But
It's more
what
for
a great
fun.
project.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And you can go back if you want to hear what it sounds like. You can go back to This Week in Google. I think we had
Yeah,
it
we had
playing
fun.
some
We
sound.
rolled it.
And of course,
Yeah.
this time we left it we left it on too long. Let's see if we can.
I see
just
the red
close it up.
light.
The red light came on. So let's close it up and just see if we can get it to. Nah, it's not gonna go.
Come on, talk to me. Talk to me, die. The die died.
The die died.
Oh, well. These things happen. That's really neat, Aaron. What a great project.
It's a lot of fun.
Speaking of 3D printers, we've got the new MakerBot. This is the Replicator 5.
Replicator 5.
And we've been using it all week to print stuff. You can hear it making a little noise. It just sounds like a little somebody's, talking to you. What are you printing in there?
So this is actually 1/2 of the shell of the die that we just talked about. So it's printing that now. It'll take probably 2.5 hours to finish that up.
One of the things I noted immediately is it has an LCD panel on it. That's cool.
It is really cool. And most of the MakerBots do. It's one reason that when people ask me what printer you recommend, I tell them, start with the MakerBot probably. It's going to be, because it's going to give you decent print results. You're going to be able to control it relatively easily. You still have to monitor and baby it constantly, especially during the first part of the print. But it's going to be probably the easiest to use. It's going to give you good results, and it's going to be just fine for most people what they want to do.
That's one of the things people should understand with 3D printers, at least the desktop printers. They're a little finicky.
Yeah, they're very finicky. They're very finicky.
They're very finicky.
We spent, like the whole time we were getting ready for the show,
couple of hours
we were trying to get this thing, try to get it calibrated.
And that was just because we moved it from one office to here.
Right.
Wow.
So it becomes misaligned very easily, and so you do need to kind of baby it a little bit. And the most important tip I can give people is the first layer or two are crucial. If you see it messing up, you just
stop.
Watch it like a hawk for the first couple of layers. Once it gets past that, it's probably going to be okay.
It looks pretty good. It looks like it's working.
It's doing really well. It's actually printing this, I think it's the 8 side, which is where the speaker hole is. You can see those in the print.
So this is with PLA plastic, or what are you printing with?
Yeah, this is, I believe it's PLA. And you can also print with ABS. And then there are printers that do resin as well. You have to be careful with PLA though, because PLA will actually melt. You stick it on your hood of your car on a hot day, it'll actually melt and you'll lose your part because it has a lower melting temperature than ABS. So if you want something to last in the sun, there was a really cool project. This guy made it a sundial. Maybe I'll bring that in next time. A sundial.
I saw it. Have you made that?
I'm gonna make it. Yeah, I need to find time on the printers.
It's a digital sundial. So instead of just looking where the shadow falls on the gnomon, the stick that sticks up, the gnomon actually has holes very cleverly. I don't know how he designed this, obviously a computer, that when the light hits it, it'll actually shine through it and show
there it is.
A digital time. You made that?
Isn't that crazy?
We're going to print Moj Optics.
The problem is it takes about 20 hours to print, so I've got to find time at the Makerspace when someone's not using a printer.
Is it one piece?
So that I can print it off. It's 2 pieces. It's the long piece there is 1 piece.
The gnomon is
and
one
then it has
piece.
a mounting piece that you can adjust based on where you actually live in the northern hemisphere.
Wow.
And he's also made I think he's made a version that works on the southern hemisphere as well. So you can do it either way.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, yeah.
It would be different.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
I didn't even think of that.
At the wrong time.
It's not the different sun. It's the same sun,
Same
right?
sun.
Okay, just check.
A different angle.
But different angle. That was such a cool idea, and I have no idea how he thought to design.
It's all math. He's got a
gnomon.
great video online.
Look how it's changing. That's brilliant.
This may be it. He actually goes through exactly the design process.
Yeah.
Brilliant for makers. If you go to his actual blog, this is the quick YouTube video, but if you dig down, if you do a Google search, you can find his actual blog. It's about a 15-minute video. He takes you through the entire design process, which is awesome. All of that to say, don't print that with PLA.
PLA, because it would melt.
It'll melt in the sun. Right when it gets hot. There he is. That's the one.
He's a crazy man.
He's a crazy guy. He's cool though.
This was his first video. I hope we'll see many more.
Yeah,
from,
me too. He really did a great job explaining the math behind what he did.
He's French, I think.
Yep. Really cool stuff.
Really neat. Very nice. Thank you for bringing all the toys here for us to play with. What do you think? This is $3,000, right? The Replicator 5. That's pricey.
Yeah, it is pricey, especially since this is plastic.
Well, it used to be wood. Remember the first Replicator? It was like
the ones we have are clones. They're from I'm not going to remember. They're Creator Pros from FlashForge.
Okay.
And they're MakerBot clones, but they're metal. The siding is metal. There's all kinds of different adjustments you can make on them. We have a glass plate in ours that's a 1/4-inch thick glass plate, which is really nice because you can just take it right out and take your piece off without worrying about screwing up the equipment. Heated bed, dual extruders, so you can extrude 2 different. We mentioned different types of filament, right? We have ours. We have the left side's always PLA, and the right side's always ABS. So if you want to come print, you just pick left
neat.
side or right side and then print it off.
So it sounds like you're not recommending the Replicator
I recommend
5.
them for beginners, right? So we were just talking to someone who wants to start a makerspace. I wouldn't recommend it for them because these things are going to get jostled around. They're going to get used a lot. They're not quite as stable.
They're not as robust.
They're not as robust.
Yeah. How much is the metal one?
So the FlashForge is a Replicator Dual, a MakerBot Replicator Dual clone, and it's $1,200.
Okay, so it's a lot less expensive.
A lot less expensive, and the other thing is, if you're just getting into it, you may find that you don't like it. It's too time-consuming.
Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't spend $3,000
so definitely don't spend $3,000 for the first one. Check out something.
And there
a
are
little
less
more
expensive
affordable.
ones.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
Thank you so much, Aaron Newcomb. Just the greatest. I really appreciate all your insights. We love having you around, so thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
We're going to look at the single most expensive component arm on our, believe it or not, on the ultimate virtual reality gaming machine. More than the motherboard, more than the processor, more than the GPU, more than the Oculus Rift.
Wow.
But boy, I'm glad we bought it. We'll show that to you in just a little bit. But first, a word from Braintree. I am a huge fan of Braintree, and you should be too. If you're a mobile app developer or you're doing a website and you want to take payments, you should not write it yourself, especially when such a great solution exists. Just a few lines of code and boom, you're accepting every form of payment there is. From pounds to PayPal, from Bitcoin to whatever begins with B. I ran out of alliteration. I mean, literally, Apple Pay, Android Pay. Coinbase lets you take Bitcoin, Venmo, credit cards from PayPal. And when there's a new form of payment, when it comes along, you just check a box in the control panel and it's added to your app. That easy. No late nights, no complicated recoding, no stress about staying ahead of the curve. And as we all know, if you're writing something like this, do not roll your own. That's just a recipe for disaster. This is secure, it's easy, it's seamless, your customers like it, and if I need to give you any additional information, let me tell you that Uber uses it, Lyft uses it, Airbnb uses it, GitHub uses it, Hotels Tonight, I can go on and on. Everybody uses it because it's the best. And Braintree saves you with fast, secure payments. You can use it in Android, iOS, or JavaScript. .NET, Node.js, Java, Perl, PHP, Python, Ruby, everything. Elegant code, clearly documented, easy integration, fast payouts, and your first $50,000 in payments fee-free. You got that right. I love it. It's the best. Contextual payments, Pinterest style, you know, those amazing buyable pins, that's Braintree. Go to braintreepayments.com/NSS to learn more. If you're a developer, if you've got a project, this is what you need. braintreepayments.com/NSS. Coming up, the most expensive part of the ultimate virtual reality gaming machine. But first, Megan Maroney, who's rapidly becoming our Echo expert, got the brand new Amazon Dot, and she has this first look.
Thank you, Leo. Meet Dot, the newest addition to my Amazon Echo family. Dot is smaller, cheaper, and she'll connect to any speaker via Bluetooth or an auxiliary cable. I use Dot on my bedside because that's where my Bluetooth speakers are for now. My standard Amazon Echo is in the kitchen, but I can see myself moving things around now. The speaker in the Dot is not so great. Some say the speaker in the Amazon Echo isn't so great either, but it's always supplied more than adequate sound for me. I use Dot for alarms, listening to news, weather, podcasts, and music in the morning. The very best part, the part that I love, is if I don't like what I'm listening to while I'm in the shower, I can ask Dot to change it with my voice. When I realized that she could hear me with the music playing and the shower going, I have to admit it was one of those, wow, tech is incredibly awesome moments. Now, there's nothing you can't do with the Dot that you can do with the Amazon Echo. In addition to the skills built in, you can enable more skills in the Alexa app. And as I told you a few weeks ago on this show, with If This, Then That, you can create recipes to use your voice to control just about anything in your house, aside from the humans actually living in it. Dot has a pretty painless setup. Plug it in, and then follow the instructions in the app. It took a few times to accept my Wi-Fi password, and I have no idea why. It could have been user error. The best part about the setup is that if you already have the Amazon Echo, the Dot uses the same app, which means your shopping lists, your ordering information, your audiobooks, all your smart home controls, and any skills you've already enabled in the Echo are automatically enabled in Dot. Now, I've tried a handful of smart home hubs, and they're always more trouble than they're worth. Summoning Siri by my voice is to control my lights or music has never worked as well as summoning the Amazon Echo. The smart devices I've used can also be just downright impractical. I set up the iHome smart plug to turn off and on my bedside table reading light, and only after all the setup did I realize that I'd need the app on my phone to turn the light on and off, and I don't like to keep my phone in my bedroom at night. I had the same problem with the Insteon hub. But the Echo Dot doesn't care where my phone is. I control all the services through my Dot with my voice. The only big thing missing, of course, is Apple Music, which I can only listen to by manually pairing my iPhone to the Dot. This is the same frustration, of course, that I have with my Apple TV. I can watch anything with it except content from Amazon. I get it. You guys are competitors, but I've already bought both of your products, so why don't you help me out a little here? I ordered Dot the morning that she was available for sale. If you order yours now, you're going to have to wait a while, but of course not as long as you'll have to wait for a Tesla Model 3. Here is a list of pros and cons of the Echo Dot. Pros, it's cheaper than the Amazon Echo. It's only $89.99 right now. It's easy to connect to speakers via Bluetooth or an auxiliary cable. The setup was really easy, especially when you compare the setup to other smart home hubs. And Amazon is always adding new features, so there's almost nothing that you can't do. Here are the cons. You still have to order the Dot through the Amazon Echo, and if you order now, you'll have to wait a while. There's also this mysterious note on the Amazon page that says when they run out of devices, they will no longer be available. It's unclear if this is temporary or forever. The sound isn't great, so if you don't have Bluetooth speakers and you want to use it to listen to music, you might consider another option. Here's what the Dot sounds like. And here's what it sounds like with the Amazon Echo speaker. But the biggest con is that two devices, so a Dot and an Amazon Echo, don't connect to play together in unison. A few times I've accidentally woken the wrong Echo. So if I stand in the middle of my house and ask Alexa to do something, both of my Amazon Echoes will play, but they're not synchronized. Here, I'll show you. Play the program Tech News Today. Now anyone can live stream straight from Facebook because what could possibly go wrong? Maybe someone with more tech skills than I have can tell me why that's so hard to do. If you don't want all of your Echoes to answer at once, you can change the wake word on your Dot to Amazon or Echo. So if all of this sounds good to you and you're already enjoying the Amazon Echo and you think you might want another one for another room, I highly recommend the Echo Dot. Back to you, Leo.
What? Is it my time?
Yeah, we got to go.
I'm busy. I'm in
game.
another world. Whoa! Hey, hello. This is you played it, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're over there because I can't see a
somewhere.
thing. Okay.
What are you looking at down there? Leo?
It's a tree. I'm in a tree. This is Lucky's Tale. So the truth is, with our ultimate virtual reality gaming machine, we really have all the peripherals we need. An Oculus Rift. It comes with the Xbox 360 controller. You don't need a screen. You don't need a mouse. You don't need a keyboard. But it is, a computer. Right. So occasionally you might want it. And actually, to set up the Echo, you do kind of need to be able to use a mouse, a keyboard, and monitor. So this is what we got. I'm going to start with the less expensive SteelSeries. This is a Father Robert recommendation. The SteelSeries Apex keyboard. It's definitely a gamer's keyboard. Look at the size of the
spacebar.
Can you see the spacebar here? The thing is like huge. I guess that's because in a lot of games, hitting the spacebar is something you do, and you want to be able to hit it easily. This is not an inexpensive keyboard, obviously. They have macro keys on the side here. It's not the cherry switches. Actually, they're kind of soft switches. They're not really loud, clacky switches. I don't mind that. The SteelSeries, though, is designed to really be tough and robust, to be pounded upon. And, of course, as with any gaming keyboard, everything is fully customizable. Not just the macro keys, but everything. Dual row function keys. You can go on and on. But I won't, because it's just a keyboard. Same thing with the mouse. Now, we've ordered I'm a lefty. So one of the problems I have with a lot of gaming mice, and mice in general, is they're really designed for righties.
Yep, mine is.
So we go, you're righty, though,
I'm a
right?
righty.
Yeah, so you don't care, but we've gone with kind of agnostic, ambidextrous mice. This is the SteelSeries Sensei laser mouse. It is a wired mouse, and most gamers would say, well, of course it's wired. You'd be crazy to use a wireless mouse. What if the battery dies in the middle of an important StarCraft game? But the Logitech I have ordered. What's that? The G600, I want to say. Anyway, the is both
G900's good.
G900 maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a both left. There it is. The Chaos Spectrum.
Yeah,
Now you know it's a gaming mouse, right?
Absolutely.
The Chaos Spectrum.
It's gotta
It
be
is
Chaos,
it
right?
is ambidextrous as well,
Awesome.
and interestingly, it has the option to be wired or wireless. So if you decide you want to use it wireless for day-to-day computing, you can, but then you can plug in for the big game. Of course, all these have programmable buttons. But this is the real centerpiece of this. As with most computers, the monitor is a big deal. Now, I am not a single monitor guy generally.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
want to do multiple monitors. My computer at home has 3 24-inch displays, but this is a little bit bigger. This is the 34-inch Predator from Asus, or is it Acer? I can never remember. Acer. The Predator is one of a number of curved, extra wide monitors we're starting to see. Dell sells them now. A lot of people do. This one really looks good. It is QHD. That means it's 3440 by 1440, and that's a 21:9 aspect ratio. So great for movies, but better even for computing. It's like having dual monitors without a bezel. Of course, they have a relatively thin bezel, so you could have 2 of these, which would really give you a complete surround of monitors. It's a beautiful monitor. IPS display, overclockable refresh rate up to 100 hertz. What else? Narrow bezel, I mentioned that. So, I didn't mention the one thing that really stings. It is $1,300, the most expensive component on our system. This comes with G-Sync, by the way, which is an NVIDIA technology to eliminate kind of tearing without having to slow the refresh rate down. So you can have a high refresh rate, but no tearing in your games. We didn't really need this because most of our gaming is going to be done in the Oculus Rift or the Vive when it comes, but this is a really beautiful. I like the idea of a curved 34-inch
I
monitor.
do too. For gaming, this is great. In a lot of games, you can't span multiple monitors.
Right.
So this is one big monitor. You throw up Civilization on this or something.
It should be. That'd be great
that'd
for
be
Civ.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great for computing. You could put, a browser here and a text document here. It's
Right.
great for side-by-side computing. So, nice choice. Not inexpensive.
A little pricey.
But you know what? $1,300 for somebody from my day and age is cheap.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Really, the big monitors. I remember my first 20-inch monitor was thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yep.
So. They've come down a lot, and this is a beautiful monitor. So
it is.
The Predator from Acer, and there it is, $1,208 if you buy it on Amazon, so you can get it even less expensive. It supports NVIDIA G-Sync and is 34 inches. And finally, we have wrapped up the ultimate virtual reality gaming machine. The HTC Vive will come in the next few weeks. We'll add that. The only other thing is to get a PlayStation 4 so we could try the PlayStation VR headset. This was your first time using the Oculus?
First time
right?
using the Oculus. Yeah, I was a
It's
little
good, isn't
worried
it?
because I thought I would get sick before the show started, but I didn't. It was fine. But they've really done a good job, especially with that game. It really is immersive.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, yeah. And you can tell as soon as I put it on, I wanted to move. Right? I
Yeah.
wanted to, you react to what you're seeing.
You're actually moving, and that's why this camera is useful. It's an infrared camera that picks up your body
Tracks you.
motion, so
Yeah.
you can.
Yep.
You can't walk around, but you can at least dodge and weave a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, we've been anybody who comes to the studio. We've been letting try this. Nobody's thrown up yet. In fact, I think most people are not reporting much of that queasiness that often accompanies VR. So I think that they've probably licked that to a certain degree. And the one thing that really is impressive compared with the development kits, the audio on this, they have built-in headphones now.
Yeah, those are really
Really
nice.
important.
I was impressed.
They sound good.
They sound great.
And they really give you it's part of the immersion
It
is to
is.
have that audio moving
Yep.
around you. So I'm very happy with that. It was well worth building it.
Wow, this is cool.
Overgum. What was the total, Jerry? You never told me.
47 and change.
47, almost $5,000. But you know what? It was less if you got a less expensive monitor. We really kind of broke the bank on the monitor at $1,300. All right, Overgum, it's going to be a resident here. Lisa said, "When do we take it home?" I said, "Never, never.
Yeah,
I
you
would
can't
like
take it
to
home because then I can't bring my kids here to play.
I would like to take it home, but that's exactly right. And then we have people in the audience who are just, can I try it? Can I try it? And we do. We let everybody try it. It was cute. On Monday, we had a family come by, a mother and her 3 or 4 daughters. It was quite a big family. And all of them tried it, and they loved it.
Nice.
And it was really neat to see kids, 12, 10, trying, I think for the first time, something that will be part of their life growing up, which is virtual reality. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get a tip from Steve Kovac about using your iPhone in the dark and some final questions. Another one for you.
Yeah, I'm ready.
People have those maker questions. Our show today brought to you by PillPack. I love PillPack. It's a better pharmacy, a full-service online pharmacy that combines, it's disrupting pharmacies. It combines a 24/7 pharmacy online. They deliver prescriptions right to your door, so there's no waiting in line. You can talk to a pharmacist any time of the day or night. You don't have to have those embarrassing conversations in public anymore. And now they use advanced technology to sort your medications and vitamins by the dose. So you never take the wrong meds. You always know if you've taken your meds for that day. They go through an image recognition system that's built to ensure the right pill is in the right pack, and then a pharmacist checks it. And if you have stuff that doesn't fit in the little pill pouches, like inhalers or ointments, those come in the box too. It can even detect dispensing accuracy by size and shape, so you always get the right medication at the right time. And no more packing those little pill containers. No more trying to remember, did I take my pill this morning? This is great. If you have family members who take medications, if you take medications like I do, you're going to like this. And the best part is it costs you nothing. The service is free. You just pay your regular copays as you would with any other pharmacy. Shipping is free. The packing is free. Time Magazine named it one of their top 25 inventions. Our friend Jill Duffy, who gave it an Editor's Choice Award at PC Magazine. Visit pillpack.com/twit right now. You can sign up in about 5 minutes, and they will manage the whole thing. They'll call your doctor. They'll make sure that your insurance covers it. It is covered by most kinds of insurance, including most Medicare Part D. When you use our link and transfer your prescriptions over to PillPack, you're going to get a credit for $20 worth of vitamins and over-the-counter medications. That's PillPack, PILLPACK.com/twit. A better, simpler pharmacy. PillPack.com/twit. You're going to love it. If you want to look at your iPhone in the dark and would like your screen to be super dim, who doesn't?
Who doesn't? That's
Who
right.
doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Isn't that the worst thing? You wake up in the middle of the night, you turn on your iPhone, you go, ah! Well, Steve Kovac has the tip.
Hi, I'm Steve Kovac. I'm Deputy Editor at Tech Insider, and I have a great tip for you if you love using your iPhone in bed. This is a secret setting hidden in accessibility settings that actually makes your screen dimmer than it originally can go when you put the slider all the way down. So I'm going to walk you through it right now. First, you go to the accessibility settings in your iPhone settings, and then you tap on zoom and switch the slider over to green. Next, tap on the screen 3 times using 3 fingers, and this will bring up another menu. Tap on choose filter and select low light. Finally, make sure that zoom region is set to full screen zoom. Now go back to accessibility settings and scroll all the way to the bottom and tap on accessibility shortcut. In the accessibility shortcut menu, tap on zoom. Now all you got to do when you're in the dark is triple click the home button to get that extra dim setting, and it's way easier on your eyes at night. So that's my tip. For more tech news, you can follow me at Steve Kovac on Twitter or check out my latest articles on techinsider.io.
Steve's going to be on Twit. What is it, next week or this week, Tanya? Soon. Maybe it's Sunday. I don't remember. Anyway, thank you, Steve. We love Steve Kovac from techinsider.io. Aaron, and we have come to the end of this.
No, it's too bad. It always goes so quick.
It feels like it went really fast today. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's easy because I love talking about making stuff. It's all been about making.
This is
and
meat.
I love video games too. So
meat
it's like
for your table.
Yeah,
no, well, that's what I love
on.
about this show. This show is about the stuff we love, no matter what. And one of the reasons we wanted to do the new screensavers is because sometimes there's things we want to do. Like we got upcoming segments on dog tech. There's things we want to do that we don't want to do a weekly show, but so it's a variety show, you know?
Yeah.
I think of it as Sábado Gigantico for tech. Time for the mailbag. Roll her in. Look at that. This thing is ready for battle bots, it looks like.
Yeah, definitely.
And as usual, we've got something, for you.
I know what that is.
A reel of PLA. Is this the reels that the Replicator uses now?
Yeah.
This is much better.
They're a little different. Usually the ones you get from online for other printers are wider and smaller.
But this seems like it would tangle less.
Yes.
It would be better for feeding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, they built it to fit into their printer. There's pros and cons to that, but that's what they've done.
It's dedicated. This is the filament. How much does that roughly cost for that?
The filament that I buy is usually about $30.
It's not cheap.
For a roll. It's not cheap, but it lasts a lot longer than you'd think.
Okay.
So
Okay, you can make a lot of stuff.
Get different colors.
All right, and then there's something else in here. Oh, I just got this. So I'm on the mailing list for Make Magazine's books, and this is their newest one. Make Fun.
Cool.
You want to take this to the
Oh, I'd love to.
Makerspace?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll donate it to the Benicia Makerspace.
Awesome.
Create your own toys, games, and amusements. Yeah, lots of good stuff in here. The Make's doing such a great job. Really
Yeah, they
great,
really are.
fun stuff. And this is one that'll get the kids in. I would recommend that to Andrew, by the way, our Queensland viewer. Get these Make magazines, have the
And
library.
have them around. We have a library in the Makerspace with about Arduino, Raspberry Pi, everything.
I'm donating that to your library.
Thank you so much.
Just for you, my friend.
That's
You
awesome.
can't have the PLA, though. I'm keeping that.
Just in time for our Maker
I'm
Fair.
sure they're going to want that back. Here's one for you. There.
Thank you.
All right. Go ahead. I'll let you go first. Guest goes first.
Okay, here we go. Fresh from the mailbox. Hello, I'm interested in delving into the 3D printing world and would like to know where to start. Which printers would you recommend? I can read.
Well, I'm glad you're here because I don't have any recommendations.
What software is required and what's the entire process from beginning to end, design to print? I pre-ordered the Glowforge laser cutter, awesome.
Oh, wow.
To assist some of the woodworking and other projects I do, and I'm thinking about a 3D printer. Which 3D printer might be good to add to my toolbox? Thanks, Adam from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So
I know nothing about this.
So there's a lot of questions here to
First
answer.
printer, though.
First printer would probably be a MakerBot or a MakerBot clone.
You want something inexpensive because you may not. This may be a hobby you don't want to pursue.
It takes a lot of babysitting.
But also, and they may be mutually incompatible. Something that's easy to use and not going to be too finicky.
Right. That's right.
Is there such a thing?
No. No, there's not. That's the simple answer. There's nothing that's not finicky. And then there's other things to consider beyond that. I mean, there's resin-based printers, right? We didn't talk about those earlier. Resin-based printers, regular filament-type printers. The resin printers can have problems too when you get them out in the sun.
We had a printer on, I can't remember the name, where the head doesn't move, the base moves.
The base moves, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that better or is it just different?
No, it's just different, right? It's all going to be about how well you calibrate the machine. And it can also be about the software that you use and what you do in the software. For example, you may want to print your first layer slower to make sure that it adheres, right? One of the things that we probably could have done on this printer. Print that first layer slower and let it adhere to the surface, and then you can step up the speed and go a lot quicker.
Right.
And there's different software you can use for different printers. Some of them recommend certain types of software. Certainly MakerBot, for example, is going to recommend MakerBot Desktop. They used to call it MakerWare. I don't know if they still do, but they're going to recommend their software, which is fine-tuned to work on their printers. But there are others as well. There's Slicer is the one that I use. It's open source. It's Slicer with a 3 instead of the E, if you're looking it up right now. And the Slicer is great. It's configurable for multi-printers. And you can go in and you can really fine-tune all the settings in Slicer to your heart's content. So if you find that one thing, I need my support printed a little thicker. I need my nozzle to extrude a little faster. You can do that with Slicer, and you can't always do it with some of the software that comes from the vendors themselves.
Do they all work with models from Thingiverse?
They do. Yep, you'll get a.
This is a website where people upload their designs, and unless you're a really good 3D designer, you're probably not going to do your own 3D designs. You might do a scan and then touch it up.
Right. You may actually. One thing we teach in the Makerspace is how to use CAD tools to actually do a quick design for a little part that you might need, and AutoCAD's Fusion 360 is great for that.
But Thingiverse has millions of people's designs.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is on here. And in fact, you can find the 20-sided die on here. Even though it came out from Adafruit, they published it here on Thingiverse. So it's great. And you want to look for the STL file. The STL is a standard file that you can download and pretty much load into any tool that you're using. And get it to print. Sometimes you'll find X3G files or other files that are only compatible with MakerBot.
Yeah.
And it's probably best to avoid those if you want to make sure you have ultimate flexibility in the software that you use.
Next question from Ryan. He wrote to us after last week. Any thoughts on the data mining that Facebook's doing with the Oculus? I came across this discussion on the PC gaming subreddit today after listening to the show. Well, there's a lot of paranoia, privacy concerns, and I think in general, if you're really worried about protecting your privacy, the internet's probably not a good place to be in general. Certainly, if you're on Facebook, you're giving them all sorts of information, much more than you're giving them just by playing an Oculus Rift game. In fact, I'm not even sure what information they glean from an Oculus Rift that they don't already have about you if you have a Facebook account. I mean, what game you play, how long you played it. I mean, maybe you don't want anybody to know that, but don't you think Steam knows that? Don't you think Mojang knows
Google,
that? Don't you think
with Android?
everybody knows how long you play games?
Right.
That's not a secret unless you're very embarrassed by how much time you're playing. I think you're just going to have to live with that. I can't think of what data the Rift would leak that would be in some way unusual. The interpupillary distance.
Yeah. And data mining is the new reality. It's not a bad word. In my day job, I talk to companies all the time, and they're all doing some sort of real-time analytics, data mining. They need to know their customers and understand their customers.
They're trying to do a better job.
They're trying to be more competitive and be a better company, and there's nothing wrong with it. Very rarely do you find someone that's misusing the data in some way. In most cases, the data is anonymized anyway. They don't know who it came from. They just know that somebody did something. That helps them to deliver a better product.
This is such a hot button topic, and I feel the same as you do. And I often say, well, what is the damage? We turned on the hot button. What is the damage that you're worried about? What is it that you think they're going to do? And it usually, in order to come up with damage, people have to kind of confabulate some crazy thing like, well, they're going to sell that information to insurance companies who are going to then deny you life insurance because you spend too much time on your ass playing video games. And you know, life insurance companies, they don't need that data because if you've ever applied for life insurance, they come into your house, they take all of your medical information, then you have to fill out a questionnaire about everything you could possibly do, probably even how long you play video games. And you know what? You can't lie on that application because if you do, and then you die, and then they found out you lied, they want you to lie because then they say, well, I'm sorry, we can't give you any life insurance.
Right.
So that one's made up as far as I'm concerned. I'm trying to think of what the other ones are. I mean, maybe you just don't like the idea that companies know what you buy or where you go online, and I understand if you don't, but that's part of being in public, and the internet is very much part of being in public, in my opinion. It's like saying, well, if I go to the mall, I don't want anybody to see me. You don't really control that, and so we should, of course, fight for privacy. But my problem is, I think that A, it can often break the internet, and B, it could create legislation that would be worse than breaking the internet, that would actually do things like, well, the right to be forgotten in the EU is really potentially damaging the usefulness of Google in general, and I don't think that's a good thing. I understand people don't want to be forgotten online, but you know what? It's online.
Right.
You can't ask Google to censor it. Just if it happened, it happened.
Right. And that's what I tell my kids. If you don't want something,
don't put it online.
Don't put it online.
Yeah.
Or don't do whatever it was in the first place that you didn't want people to know about.
What company do you work for?
NetApp.
And what do you do at NetApp?
So I'm a technical marketer. So I take the new stuff that NetApp puts out, the new code or gadget, whatever it is. We do mostly software storage systems. We come up with something new, and what I do is I translate all the technical mumbo jumbo, since I understand that, into what a customer might be, what it might appeal to them. What does this mean for you? So
that's a good job.
You know, we got faster drives. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well,
how is that going to help you?
Yeah, we talk about real-time analytics, right? So that helps you analyze more data and provide a better product to your customers. So I'm kind of the go-between. I translate the mumbo jumbo into the thing that
you're
the
on the
business
front lines of this big data revolution.
Oh yeah,
really.
Yeah, it's a big deal in the storage industry. Because it's funny we talk about data. Data's exploding. It's been the common theme in the storage industry for forever. Data's exploding. You need to buy more. But actually, it's really true now with the Internet of Things, and you walk into an Apple store, they know you're there, they know what you've been looking at. The reason they can do that is because they're processing this information as quickly as possible to derive some sort of value out of it for their customers. Right. So yeah, data really is exploding, and it's important.
I'm glad you made the point that in general this is to make them better companies, more responsive to their customers. My big fear is that if people start to say, well, we don't want data mining, that some of the real benefits of data mining, look at Apple's Health Kit and their new Care Kit, which is taking all sorts of data about you, your health, your metrics, and making it available to your doctor. Laws that protect people's privacy could end up thwarting this kind of innovation. Right. So we got to be very careful about what we ask for. Make sure that if you're fighting something that really is a negative side, there's a real, genuine negative aspect to it, and then fight that particular thing and think about the overall consequences. We don't want Burr Feinstein everywhere, and I'm afraid that we're heading into that world. And I, for one, as somebody who loves technological innovation, I don't want to see it slow down. Right? I think this is amazing stuff. Yep. It's so great to have you. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks
Come
for
back
having me again. I definitely will. I've got some really cool stuff to bring already on the table.
So give me a hint.
At the Makerspace that I'm working on. I'm going to bring them next time.
Oh, you want to give us any hints? Anything?
There could be lasers involved.
Lasers.
So we'll see.
Wash Floss Weekly. That's it's Tuesday now at 9 o'clock?
Tuesday at 9:30.
9:30.
Yep, and so we've got a lot of great shows.
9:30 Pacific.
9:30 Pacific.
Eastern.
Yep. Good. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah,
Yep. Absolutely. We have a great time talking about open source projects. We just had Will the Chill on talking about Perl. So Randall, he's the Perl guy.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Oh yeah, it was fun just listening to them talk tech
Perling.
back and forth. Yeah.
Back and forth.
Yeah,
They're
Perl
one-liners.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's great. It was good. It's fun stuff.
Thank you, Aaron Newcomb. Thanks to all of you for joining us. We do the new Screensavers every Saturday afternoon. Like I said, Sábado Gigantico. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Did I say that okay? I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. Yeah? You like? Yeah, okay? Sure. It means Giant Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's off the air. We can do it now. And 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, that is 2200 UTC. So it's in the evening if you're in the Great Britain region, in Paris or whatever. But please tune in live. We like it if you're in the chat room at irc.twit.tv. Of course, you don't have to. We make on-demand audio and video of everything we do on Twit available at our website, in this case, twit.tv/NSS for new screen savers. And there's Twit apps everywhere. We don't write them, but we happen to have some fans who are pretty good programmers on Apple TV and Roku and iOS and Android and Windows Phone and Windows 10. And so get the Twit app, subscribe, or use your podcast app. On almost every platform has a podcast app, and subscribe. That way you'll get every episode of the new Screensavers. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time. I'm Leo Laporte. Bye-bye.
Bye.